breaking news. The San Francisco 49ers have their 20th head coach. It is Chip Kelly.
Hot off the presses, breaking news. This just happening. Former Oregon head football coach, former Philadelphia Eagles head football coach is now the current head coach of the San Francisco 49ers.
We welcome you into 49ers Live. I'm Joe Fann, joined by Taylor Price, and in the words of CEO Jed York, the first step in a busy offseason is complete. Chip Kelly now introduced as the 49ers head coach. Taylor, let's dive right in. Your initial impressions from Coach Kelly.
Really impressive press conference from the new head coach, Chip Kelly, in control of the message and the vision for this football team. He's going to call plays from the sideline. Trent has control of the 53-man roster. Going to be a collaborative effort for those two men to get this product in the best place it can be.
The big questions were, how do these guys get along? And immediately, Chip Kelly comes out and says he'd never met Jed before. And meeting with Jed York, you saw how driven he was, saw how dedicated he was to getting this team back to a championship caliber team in search of that 6th Lombardi trophy. And then looking at two football guys. We heard football guy over and over again. But really, two guys from the same mold, Trent Baalke and Chip Kelly. It seems like a marriage going for what should be very successful.
Pretty exciting times. I mean, you saw the swarm of media there on the camera. A lot of photographers, videographers, and of course the reporters, beat writers, columnists. Everyone's asking that question. They want to know, how is this going to play out? What did Chip Kelly learn from his stint in Philadelphia? 26-21, a division title in his first season. He was able to turn them from a 4-12 team to a 10-win team and get them in the playoffs and win a division. So the early steps and a lot of evaluation that has to go on right now with the 49ers. He said he's talked to many of the team leaders and wouldn't get into the specifics of his messages because, of course, the CBA prohibits what the coach can say football-wise to his players. But it sounds like he's making some introductions with Colin Kaepernick, Navarro Bowman, Joe Staley, Carlos Hyde, and that's a great thing to hear, that Chip Kelly is hitting the ground running right now, and now he's getting his staff ready to go.
The 49ers have landed one of the most prominent offensive coaches in football, college, professional, you name it. You look at a guy who, 2013, the Eagles were 4th in points, 2nd in total offense. In 2014, 3rd in points, 5th in total offense. And even this year, despite the struggles and obviously him getting fired after week 16, still 13th in points and 12th in total offense. You compare that to the 49ers, 32nd in points and 31st in total offense. Those are night and day numbers, and that's going to be a focus right now immediately. What's going to happen with this offense?
Yeah, and you look at his track record, there's a lot of firepower, explosive plays in the run game as well, not just the passing game. And if you're an offensive player right now for the 49ers, you got to be excited because there's going to be some fireworks here at Levi Stadium. And I spoke to Ted Robinson, the voice of the 49ers. He said, touchdown 49ers was a phrase that's sorely been lacking over the last few years. And now you have Chip Kelly infusing his fast-paced offense. And this is a compliment to what we can do with some of these offensive players here under the roster. A lot of draft picks, salary cap room, a lot of tools for Trent Baalke and Chip Kelly to play with.
And you look at what he's done, some of the names that's come through there. Obviously, you have LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, some great skill position players. But you look at Nick Foles, a guy who was largely unknown out of the University of Arizona, turned him into a Pro Bowl player, 27 touchdowns, 2 picks in 2013. Now he's got a decision to make, as Trent as well, and there is no rush. They said that time and time and again. It's going to be a process. They're going to go through everybody on the roster. But Colin Kaepernick and Blaine Gabbert are two guys on this roster still under contract, and both could be very well a fit in this offense.
It was unique to hear that Chip has touched base with both players, and he said that Kaepernick is going back to Colorado to have some follow-up look examinations for some of the surgeries that he's recently had. But he's connected with both of those quarterbacks, and that's a good step that he's aware they've built those lines of communication. And now the team has the ability to evaluate the roster once they figure out the coaching staff. That's the biggest domino first. You got to get your coaching staff together, and it's a good step to know that Chip Kelly's calling the plays. Now he has to find the offense coordinator. He joked that the bad plays will be from the offense coordinator, the good plays will be coming from him on the headset on the sideline. So that's the biggest step right now. Get that coaching staff in place, and then you'll be able to build and evaluate the current roster you're inheriting.
What was interesting to me is just how collaborative it's going to be. You look at a guy like Kelly with so much ownership of the offense, going to be calling plays from the sideline, but how much throughout the week goes into that, to where he said, you know, he mentioned your first 3rd and 1 scenario. he's not pulling that play out of the hat. It's something that they have labored over all week long. If we get this look, this is the play we're going to run. And that's not just Chip Kelly's decision. That's going to be Tom Rathman's decision. He's staying on this coaching staff. Called him the best running backs coach in the entire league. It's going to be the offensive coordinator who's going to have a big say in that. And so, again, it's Chip Kelly's offense, but it's on him now and Trent Baalke to find the staff that will complement him the best as possible.
And you have to look at some of the connections that they have. Yes, they haven't worked together. We're talking about Trent and Chip. But Tom Gamble, the senior personnel executive here with the 49ers, he has that experience of working with Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. They have a track record going back and had some successful years when they won the division. And now you have a guy who's a trusted confidant there of Trent Baalke. And if Tom Gamble is giving some co-signage to the new head coach, that just sort of bridges the gap and gets these guys in the room together. And I think it's a great fit. You hear Jed talk about it to start the press conference, that there was no one better for this fit. Nobody had the better vision than Chip Kelly. And the fact that these men have worked together through 2 degrees of separation, if you will, the fact that they're here together, working together, it's a great step that the 49ers can build on what has been done in the past.
We'll continue to break down what's ahead in this offseason, obviously, and then what some of the names that are out there for these different coaching positions. But, Taylor, I want to know what your impression was of just Chip. I mean, to me, very quick on his feet. Obviously, handled the questions very, very well. He was strong in his convictions. But also, he opened in his opening remarks talking about he understands how big of a deal being the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers is, and being here in Levi's Stadium, a team that has won 5 Super Bowls, been to another one, and is hosting one this year, and everything that encompasses having that position, that to me spoke volumes about who he is.
Yeah, I think we saw the mixed bag, a well-rounded coach, a guy who has the football acumen, who has the quips, the sharp-witted humor there, and then a guy who just understands what's being asked of him. He can process it and give you a great soundbite as well. And I thought there was many examples of him talking with Trent, telling the story of how Trent came to New Hampshire and interviewed him, and his golden retriever Henry jumped on his lap for 2 hours and shed a bunch all over Trent. You know Trent's not loving that, but there's some humor there. There's a personality with Coach Kelly that is going to be fascinating for us to cover this season and beyond for the 49ers. And also when it comes to football, you have a live look here in the stadium. There's going to be a photo op as well. When it comes to football, Chip Kelly has that vision for what he wants to do on offense, and he's not so stubborn that he's going to continue doing what he did repeatedly in Philadelphia. He's going to adapt what he does on the field to the players that he's inheriting. And I love that comment about the zone read offense. And he said, Russell Wilson and RG3 types, Cam Newton as well. These guys are really killing people with some of these creative looks on offense, and that he's not dissuaded from using some of those principles that he installed in Oregon.
You continue to be struck by the mutual respect, and oftentimes, and as they should be, these press conferences are somewhat cookie-cutter, right? I mean, every coach is excited to be in their new position, but you want to see that cohesiveness and continuing. Just looking at some of my notes, calling Trent a grinder, saying that they're the same guys. Again, going back to that football guy, Trent called him highly innovative and a proven track record at all levels, and so you see that this seems to be a match where you know what your responsibility is. Chip Kelly said he's comfortable with Trent having control of the 53-man roster. He's just here to coach. He said that during the press conference. And again, now it's their job to work together. They've had interviews throughout the week, and they're going to continue to have more interviews as this staff continues to be put in place, Taylor.
It's been fun for us. We're sort of playing catch-up and watching a lot of sound bites and press conferences and reading up on Chip Kelly, the way he is as a unique, innovative thinker, not only on the field, but the way he handles the team and the way he leads as an example and does some unique things. And I thought it was pretty fascinating to get to hear him mic'd up with the Philadelphia Eagles and get a sense for his football personality, the way it comes out, the joy that he has on the sidelines being a head coach in the league.
Before we get to some of these names that are out there in the Twitter sphere and such with his coaching staff and potential candidates, let's go to Chip Kelly mic'd up from Philadelphia so you can get to know the 49ers' new head coach.
Pre-game thing's like a phenomenon. Game days always hurry up and wait.
Right.
We should be like high school where we just get on a yellow school bus and like 5 minutes before kickoff, we pull the bus up, we get out and we play. At some point in time, we're going to change that. We'll figure that out.
Set, ready to go.
On the ball! Let's go! Let's go! Nick! We gotta go. Get these guys going. Bend it. Pull it, Nick.
Spinning forward, leading in, scoring a touchdown!
We never got the safety. Woo!
Great play.
Hey,
Trying to be like you, Mike.
Good job, baby.
Trying to be like you.
Throw it away. Good job. Make a dig out there.
Where to go? I was like, all right, little cut back right here, spin right in.
Hey, Rusty, can you tell him we're not subbing when we try to play fast and he's still kind of standing over the ball? We can move that a little faster. I'm never going to we're not trying to fake you out and sneak a guy on, but he seems like he's waiting on Walt. We can get going, you know what I mean? Keep the pedal going. Keep it going. No let up.
Let's get a little drive right here.
You got him, Foles. You got him, Foles.
Fred, we go. Here we go.
Gives it off to McCoy, who pushes and shoves. He's in. Touchdown, Shady McCoy.
Good job on the clam. Yes, sir. Good job. Good job.
Hey, that was a hell of a drive. That was a hell of a drive. We got to finish now. Great drive.
Back goes Griffin. He's looking. He starts to run.
Where are we going? Why did we not get to him?
Now he is throwing on the run, and it is complete to Young. Terrell Young across the 15, the 10, 5 touchdown. And there is a quick strike.
That's on us, man. That's on us.
Looking. He is going deep for Aldrick Robinson, and it is caught for a touchdown. And this is a game.
Are you kidding me? Come on, man. All right. Well, you've made it interesting. Let's just finish it, right? It's on us. It's on us. Let's finish this thing.
They need a touchdown, and they need a two-point conversion. He's back. He's looking. He's being chased. He throws it high in the air, and it is intercepted. And that's the game.
Taylor, you see that distinct identity, yelling us, go, 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 Nick, get these guys going, we're moving. I mean, this is who this guy is. He's talking to the officials saying, hey, we're not trying to fool anybody. We are going quickly. We're not going to substitute. We're going to keep that defense on the field for the entire drive. We're going to wear them down, and we're going to snap the ball as quickly as we can.
There's a reason why Torrey Smith already tweeted that he's getting his wind sprints ready. Got to give himself condition for this Chip Kelly offense because they play fast, and it's an exciting brand of football. When it's hitting, they're able to attack the entire field, spread people out, and find some opportunity there as a 5-wide offense. And we didn't see that very often from the 49ers. It was more of a power scheme in these last few years. So I'm fascinated to see how this plays out, how this coaching staff, once it's assembled, can work with these players and really preach those messages of spreading the field, playing with tempo. And, of course, you hear it over and over again from Chip Kelly. His philosophy is go fast and make the opponent tired.
And again, I don't think you're going to see a lot of the old pointing to the first downs. I mean, it's give the ball to the referee and get back to the line of scrimmage. I want to run down. We got a couple of names here who have been reported who could come over here, whether it's from Philadelphia or elsewhere. One name that's been reported this morning, Anthony Lynn, the running backs coach and assistant head coach of the Buffalo Bills, has also held that same position with the Jets, Browns, Cowboys, and Jaguars. Also played in the league, played with the 49ers, in fact, in 1996. Had 164 rushing yards that season, including a 67-yard run. Just a little get to know you with Anthony Lynn. But what are some of the names you hear out there?
I really look at defensive coordinator right now. I know you mentioned Lynn as an offensive coordinator candidate, but you have Chip Kelly on offense. You're feeling pretty good about that side of the ball right now. And the vision now is defense, and what will he do as a defensive coordinator? He had interviews this morning with some candidates for various coaching jobs, and so Chip Kelly is getting this staff going, and he's having interviews, and then he's going to press conferences. So they're hard at work getting this staff ready. The defense coordinator for me is the one I'm most interested about. There's talk of Eric Mangini potentially being retained. There's a report out there that Mike Vrabel, the linebacker coach that we all saw on Hard Knocks, is he a candidate here as well? We're going to have to watch and see how this plays out because for me, defensive coordinator really tell the tale of the tape, and there's some connections there with 3-4 scheme stuff that Kelly's done in the past, and this Trent Baalke draft record has been drafting players with 3-4 tendencies. You look at Eric Armstead at first-round pick last year, recruited to Oregon by Chip Kelly. So there's some connections there. There's some familiarity. We'll see if they go with a 3-4 defensive coach.
You look at a couple names also who could potentially come from Philadelphia over here with Chip Kelly. Jerry Azanaro, one name. He was a defensive line coach and assistant head coach for the Eagles. He was also with Chip Kelly at Oregon. Another one, Ryan Day, the Eagles quarterbacks coach, could be a potential fit for that same job here. He played for Kelly at New Hampshire while Chip Kelly was the offensive coordinator there from 1999 to 02. So there's names swirling around, and we'll obviously have you filled in as those names become official right here on 49ers Live. And again, this is the beginning of a very busy offseason. This is really just step one, as Jed York said, and the calendar is full. We got the Senior Bowl coming up here next week. Obviously, the Super Bowl that will be here. We're looking at building a coaching staff. Free agency is going to come. As here's just some of the key dates. We'll have you covered from February 23rd to the 29th at the NFL Combine from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Taylor, looking at that slate of dates, what sticks out to you the most?
Yeah, as we look at it, it's really talent evaluation season. As you're assembling this coaching staff, this is a really attractive place to be, not only because of Chip Kelly starting his career here and having some longevity to start with, but the young talent that's been assembled. You have versatile players. You have a lot of high draft picks over the years. You have salary cap room, potential to have 12 draft picks in this year. So, of course, you point to the Senior Bowl where the best college all-stars are going to be there. The best seniors have an opportunity to try out and practice every single day, and that's where the heavy evaluation goes. And then, of course, the underclassmen, you get to see them at the Combine, run their 40-yard dash times and see how their measurables compare with some of those upperclassmen. So those are the big two for me. And, of course, free agency, who's going to be the next Torrey Smith? Who's that big splash? But Chip Kelly and Trent Baalke, they're getting their hands dirty right now on evaluating the coaching opportunities here with the staff. And then once that's in place, you get that philosophy built out, then you can start acquiring talent.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at free agency because you're evaluating everybody on the roster and you're evaluating people around the league who might become available. But come free agency, there are guys you're going to have to make decisions on more quickly than come training camp when you're making roster cuts, right? The Ian Williams, the Phil Dawsons, the Anquan Boldens, the Garrett Sellecks, those guys who are out there. And, that to me is what I'm curious about because, those are obviously have to be priority one because those are the guys, again, where the decision is going to need to be made much sooner.
Yeah, those players were brought in by Trent Baalke, so he has a connection to those players. But Chip Kelly, they might not fit his vision for the team. You never know. The coaching staff has to make those evaluations. And, of course, they're going to get a chance to start that up when players are starting to come back in and working out. I think that's a cool thing that a team with a first-year head coach gets an advantage. Their off-season program for the 49ers here will start on April 4th. And so the players will start to come in, get their workouts going, and I think that's unique for Chip Kelly. And then they won't have contact with the players, but it'll be interesting to see how many players come out, start to grasp this weight, strength and conditioning program and really hit the ground running and make their case because you want to impress your new boss, no matter who it is, what your job is or you're a football player. This is your chance to make a good first impression with your new head coach.
And you feel the excitement around that 7th overall pick as well, and that will only crescendo as April nears closer in that 2016 NFL draft from Chicago. And there's so many directions you can go. And that's the beauty of having a high draft choice. There's only 6 players at that point that are going to be off the board. It's pretty much the world's your oyster a little bit.
Yes, and of course the free agency domino always falls first. If you need a cornerback or a defensive lineman and you get them in free agency, well, you don't have to spend a high draft pick on those positions of need. So the 49ers have some options there in free agency first with a high number of salary cap availability to their disposal. They've made some room over the last few years, and now you have players who are excited about playing for Chip Kelly, and joining one would be Eric Armstead. We'll take a look at his tweet here. He said, congrats to Chip, won a lot of games together in college, excited about working to do that at this level. And a lot of games was pretty accurate, 46-7 at Oregon with some pretty aggressive wins in the Pac-10 and Pac-12, beating my Arizona State team over the years. And I'm happy that Chip's moved on and potentially going to do that for our team here.
And Washington far too many times in a row that I care to speak of. As we wrap up here, we're going to go check out and get cooking on some content for 49ers.com, so be sure to check that throughout the day and the weeks moving forward as news unfolds. We'll also have you covered here on 49ers Live. But for Taylor Price, I'm Joe Fann. Take care, everybody.